So guys, it's gonna be my very first cast. We're casting a high-ish elo game. This guy is rank 17 on the ladder. He's playing French, and his name is Mitoe over here. And let me just go to the other side. On the right bottom corner of the map, it's Hazza playing the English. He's also rather high on the ladder, and he is going to be opening with a standard thing, which is house into a mining camp. For the English, I guess that's kind of the regular thing. You want to get to the next age as soon as you possibly can, I guess. Probably 430 is going to be this optimal point. So just going for the mining camp, getting the gold as soon as you can is the way to go. Now on the other side over here, we have Mitoe going for the gold and a house with basically mirrored openings here. Where I think the French have a little bit better economy early on, so I think he's going to be able to just eke out a small lead. Like, that's just basically how French work. They are somehow better than other civs in a lot of ways. We have 3 villagers on the gold here for the French, and we have a single villager on the gold for the English. So there is a rather small difference, I guess, between those two players going into this very first few minutes of the game. Which would indicate, I guess, that the French are going to go into the next age a little bit faster. It seems like he might be able to eke out, like, I guess, like 10-20 seconds more of this. Now, we can also see that Mitoe actually did spend the gold on something. He's researching the wheelbarrow very early on, so that's why he needed those 3 villagers, I guess. So he's not going to be very fast into the next age, but this wheelbarrow is going to give him a decent economic advantage, because it just allows his villagers to carry faster and move faster as well, which means that, like, there's going to be way less idle time for them. Now at the bottom over here, Hazza is just kind of chilling. He's going for 4 villagers on the gold now, so he's trying to catch up desperately to his opponent. He's also researching wheelbarrows, so we can see that this has become the meta now. It was something that people were doing before in the stress test, like they were just going for those very early wheelbarrow research. And people are actually just kind of rushing that right now. So they set a lot of villagers onto that gold, up to 5, and they just rush it down. They get the wheelbarrow as soon as they can, and then they go for the next age. So here we can see that both Mitoe and Hazza are basically sitting on equal resources, with Mitoe having a little bit more gold. He was just faster to the punch, and he is getting a little bit ahead, I guess. Looking at the bottom of the map here, we see that, yep, lots of sheep onto Hazza's scout. And Mitoe is actually, I'm not really sure what he has been doing with the scout, to be honest. He herded some sheep in, and now he is actually just running around the bottom part of the map. Here he is. So he's running around the bottom part of the map, just looking for those relics, maybe trying to identify some weak points, some possible avenues for attack later on. Because I guess, like, feudal is where Age of Empires still really just Age of Empires 4 is actually just going crazy, right? So people will do a lot of those early maneuvers. They will go for, like, cavalry harassment, or they're just gonna mix in some archers. If you're English, you'll obviously just gonna probably go for full archer compositions almost, right? So that's what we'll probably be dealing with. Like, we'll see a lot of horsemen from the French and a decent numbers of archers to match that. You have to remember, of course, that knights are very good at dealing with archers with very heavy armor on their side. So you probably need to support that with spearmen if you want to hold the line here. So yeah, it's just kind of the classic. We see School of Cavalry, which is going to provide this French player with a little bit more production of stable units, and yeah, it looks very good. It looks very good. Like, he's just going to have the stables also producing faster. So it's the matching landmark, really, both playing offensively here. The English getting, lots of archers, and the French are getting a decent number of, I guess, knights. I think that it will be knights. Since Mitoe is still on the gold here with 5-6 villas, so he's going to go for the early knight harassment matched by the archers, by the looks of it. And on the side of Hazza, though, I think Hazza would like to drop a single barracks at some point, because the the knights with pure archers is not practical in any way or form. So Mitoe is indeed first to the next age, but it's literally the same. They do that at this very same second, so they actually get to feudal both at the same time. And yeah, they have a very good setup for going into that feudal. Like, they probably know what their opponents are doing. It's very hard not to guess that the French are gonna go for knights. It's also very hard to guess fail to guess. Okay, it's very hard to fail to guess that the English are gonna go for archers, right? So it's gonna be this kind of, I guess, battle of obvious matchups here. It's mostly gonna be the matter of how well they juggle their villagers, I guess, and how well they defend. I guess, like, playing against cavalry just kind of puts the English on the back foot naturally, right? They have to be defensive here. They probably cannot be proactive to a large extent. So you can see, like, maybe those kind of narrow tunnels built because with the houses and with those other structures are going to be what provides Hazza with some security. You see the first knight coming in over here, and there's a large number of forces already just kind of trying to fend that off. He might get the villager and get out, but that's a lot of damage on this character, I mean, on this unit, and it's actually kind of a question mark. Does he get out? Yeah, he does. But he took a decent chunk of damage, so that's what people are actually doing with the French, right? So you run in, you do a little bit of damage, you strike once or twice, and you just try to get rid of a single unit of your enemy, and you get out. Apparently here, this is a big overstep though, and he loses the knight, and those are very valuable units, you know, very expensive. They obviously come with a lot of HP, but they are, you know, worth their weight in gold, really. So here it is, he is researching chivalry though, so he's going to be able to regenerate the HP of the knights, which is great, but he lost one of them, so that kind of, it feels like a little bit like StarCraft 2 to a large extent, where like, you want to execute a plan, like you want to go for an early, I don't know, air unit harassment, but you lose one of your oracles as Protoss, for instance, very, very early on. And that just jeopardizes a lot of your plans, right? So that's what he kind of did here. He has those two knights who can just kind of orbit in and out. Like, that's what he would probably prefer to be doing. He would just kind of like to run that knight in, do some. He's gonna get that villager in the run. So he wants to kind of keep doing this, maybe with multiple knights even, right? So he just kind of runs in, slaps the villager, gets out, right? He just kind of keeps doing this over and over again to just eke out a small advantage for himself. So I think that's basically what he wants to do, what he intended to do, especially the chivalry tech, which is not cheap by any means, right? It's going to cost you quite a bit in resources. So he wanted to do that, but he somewhat failed, right? He kind of failed that attempt here. So we can see also that since Mitoe has a lot of control on the map, he goes for a hunt very early on. He's also basically sitting on a bunch of resources. He has 800 food, 600 gold, so he's very close to being able to actually age up to Castle Age. Whereas Hazza, on the other hand, he's nowhere near. He lost a few villagers. He is actually not getting any gold whatsoever. He's 0 gold right now. And he's 74 food. So while his villager count might be okay, he has 28 to Mitoe's 33, so he's not okay. There's honestly nothing okay about this position of Hazza. He is behind in economy. He is behind in, I guess, in tech as well, because he's gonna get outaged by a lot. And yeah, he has not been able to establish any sort of presence on the map because of how efficient Mitoe has been with those few pesky knights. You can see those two royal knights actually running around over here right now, wrapping into the base from the south. And this is going to create an opening for Mitoe to actually just, you know, get a few villager kills, I guess, because those villas over here at the mill are completely unprotected. It's up to Hazza to react on time. It doesn't look like he will. So it's going to be 2 villager kills at the very least right now for Mitoe. He just kind of takes those 2 kills, slaps those 2 villas on the head and gets out. And I think that's the problem for English, right? Like, if you are not really prepared, if you don't have the eyes at the back of your head, you are going to lose those villagers. Like, the knights are really good at dealing the damage and running away. It really feels like harassment with oracles or like some sort of pesky air units in SC2, right? Or just kind of run by, you get a few kills, you get out, right? They're very fast, like they're really good at kind of getting that initial hit with that charge, and then they just kind of follow up with a single melee attack and they kill. And I don't know, like, he'd probably need, I think maybe that's a mistake that he makes with unit distribution, like he's just not keeping enough units on each of those kind of gathering sites. But if you're spread so thin around the map, like with your army, I think those knights at some point will be able to just kind of take a fight even. Because he doesn't have much though, right? Mitoe is not sitting in a large army, he has 4 military, 40 eco, whereas Hazza is actually producing so much more military, so 35 eco and 14 military here. He does, however, drop a second TC, so that is a little bit of an advantage. I guess he's going to be able to make a lot of villagers, and he's going to maybe be able to catch up to this, but frankly, he is very far behind Mitoe, sitting on 800 food, 400 gold. As it is, he is getting a stable as well. He will probably go for the veteran knight upgrade, which is also going to add a lot of HP and a lot of damage to those knights. We don't see a blacksmith here dropped. Oh no, it's actually here. So he does get the blacksmith. He has those upgrades for a melee attack for free. So all he probably needs is to get some extra defensive anti-arrow upgrades, I suppose, and he's gonna be golden, because I don't think anything can stop like a large bulk of knights just kind of running into the base and doing damage to you. That's actually very funky. Look at this. He has 5 scouts. He's hunting for those deer. He's taking the carcasses to his base. He's probably just gonna, tank them. I mean, pick them up and take them to one of the mills. And he's just going to make the most out of this. So he's basically just taking resources of the map. And since deer have very good gathering rate, he's going to get a lot out of this, honestly. You have 3 knights wrapping around here as well. So I guess he's just patrolling a little bit. He doesn't need to do anything crazy. Those knights are veteran now, I think, yeah. So I guess he's researching something in the blacksmith as well. Not quite, actually. So yeah, I guess it's just kind of a slower game now. We can see that Hazza has been able to gather enough resources to go up himself to click to the next age. And yeah, he's very far behind though, right? You can see that like he doesn't have any bank saved up really. Mitoe sitting on 750 food, 400 gold, and I'm kind of disappointed he's not really doing much with it yet. He's just kind of taking it slow. He's running around with his knights, just kind of applying some pressure, I guess. And English are good at defending, don't get me wrong, they get like a lot of bonuses to defend against those offensive maneuvers. You have like a lot of movement, attack speed as well if you are within the network of castles. So it's not like he's completely like lost, right? But he's going to lose some villagers again for basically free. He might kind of... I don't think he trades favorably here either, because those are knights. So he kind of takes those low HP knights out. That's very good micro here. We're just gonna save the units that can regenerate the HP later on. He murders some extra spears and he just walks out, right? He loses what? He loses 3 knights. I don't think it's good trading for Mitoe. Honestly, he lost more than he got out of that. But frankly, that's still okay. I think we're fine. So let's see what he's going up to age 3 with, by the way, because he's probably advancing, or no, he's already advanced, never mind. So he went with King's Palace, which is the economic landmark. He's basically on 3 town centers right now, right? He has one over here, one in the main, that's kind of the initial TC, and he has one over here. So he's working with 3 town centers right now, which honestly is a very large TC count compared to what Mitoe is working with. He has what? I really wasn't paying attention to this, but he has 1 tower center overall. There's nothing else on the map. So it means that Hazza, if you let him actually just kind of keep expanding, he is going to out macro, right? He's going to out macro Mitoe here. So what Mitoe really needs to do now is actually just kind of go for something. Look at how much he's floating. He's 2,000 gold and 2.5k food. It doesn't actually mean he's gonna go for like fast. I think he's gonna do this. He's just gonna go for imp. Yeah, he's actually just, because Mitoe has been so conservative on the map, he's just gonna go for a very early Red Palace push here. So 15 minutes on the clock, he's already going for Imperial Age. the red palace is gonna go up. I don't think that Hazza has any means to stop that even, because he invested so much into the economy. He's just gonna get sieged now. And those knights are actually just sieging the TC over here. I don't think they can get the kill necessarily, but they also work as a distraction. Because what is happening here is actually like the important part of this trick is that Mitoe is building that castle over here. And that's a landmark, that's a TC, I mean that's a castle as well as a fortress. So not only does he get a nice advantage on the map, because he gets a lot of pressure on this part of the map. He gets to H4 very early on. And he's still basically derailing his opponent here, so he's trading favorably. Those 4 knights are very, very well equipped to deal with. Never mind, they're just gonna die here. So he's gonna run away. He's finally, that's very late. He's getting that second ranged armor upgrade, which he really needs to get. And as he goes into imp, he's gonna get that third melee upgrade as well, which is insanity, to be honest. And the best part, I think, is that Hazza doesn't see that. Hazza has only vision. No, he actually does. He actually does see that. There's very little he can do about it, I guess. I think it was a big mistake he didn't pay attention to this, because honestly, even saving this TC is less valuable than denying age up, like, and a fortress, like, going right outside of your own base. So that keep over here is gonna be very, very annoying right now. It's going to apply a lot of pressure. And he honestly, I think he had the means to deny it. That's a big mistake from Hazza. If he did see this, and he decided consciously that he's gonna go defend the TC instead of just letting that, just cancel, I think that's a major mistake, because he has enough. He has 2 TCs already as it is. He has, I guess he's going up somewhere, right? Is he going up to H4? No, I don't think so. Doesn't look like he's actually up. He hasn't clicked up anywhere yet, right? He's no landmarks for next age. He's really deep in this right now. He's kind of stuck in Castle Age, whereas his opponent is actually going to research those Imperial techs, and he's gonna get a huge advantage here. The guild hall is up here, of course, and he has so much going for him right now. Even though his economy is a bit inferior, right? 61 to for Hazza to what, 50 something? No, 64 actually for Mitoe. So Hazza, despite sitting on 3 freaking town centers, is not outproducing the villagers. So his vill numbers are low. His units are going to be inferior. He has a couple of archers, a few crossbows. That's not going to hold against like a large mass of knights. And honestly, Mitoe has equal economy despite being on a singular freaking town center. I can't believe it, he's still on 1 TC. And he's still being able to produce so many vills because of the harassment of the knights, I guess. He's been able to actually apply so much pressure that he has been overwhelming his opponent. He has Elite Royal Knight upgrade, that's basically a go signal. He has a large advantage in terms of tech. He knows he can just kind of go for it now. He has lots of defensive upgrades here as well on those knights. And he's just gonna go for the throat here, honestly, right? He's gonna go for a kill here. He's killing those archers off very, very easily. He is harassing the economy of Hazza. And honestly, the English player has very little to do here right now. He is losing the economy, he is at a huge disadvantage. And those knights are just gonna keep flooding in, right? At this point, like, you have a proxy stable over here as well. You have rallying point over here with, like, what, 5 extra knights? And, you know, that was very clean play from Mitoe, honestly. Hazza had very little to show in this game. He was harassed by the knights from minute 1, and yeah, he was very slow to pull the vills out, honestly, and to save them, and he is just paying for it with his DS life right now, because he is definitely going down. Like, this crossbow, like, basically that might be the last unit that Hazza has in the game, almost. It's like, there are 5 villages over here, and that's basically all she wrote. Like, there's some economy here. Again, yes, protected, but what are you gonna do with it? Like, your opponent has more eco than you, he has more army than you, he has superior tech to you. Like, there's basically no ad for Hazza here, I guess. He has nothing. Literally, those knights are just, I think you can just win with knights as Franks, right? As the French, because he's just gonna keep rallying them into. Look at this bulk. Like, he has what, like I don't know how many knights Mitoe honestly has, but it's 12 over here, and there are additional like 8 over here, so it's 20, it's 20 elite knights, guys, 20 elite knights. Come on, Valen. Come on, cut the crap. So we have 12 knights coming in again. Well, it takes us to the total number of 19 actually here, and can they just slam dunk this TC? I think they can just go for it. They can just go and kill it, right? Honestly. So yeah, that's exactly what's happening. I think he's just gonna go for the TC kill with the knights because there is nothing that can stop him. Like what, a couple of crossbows, like 7 or 8, they're not gonna do enough damage. You would need to have like elite crossbow upgrades here, and you need to have just maybe some spriggles. I think spriggles do very well against the knights. And those two traps are actually just very, very unfortunate because they don't do anything. Even if you kill this, like, first of all, this can be rebuilt, and second of all, it doesn't change anything. Alright, this changes nothing for Mitoe. He's really, really far ahead here in this game. Yeah, and that's it, right? I guess that's just gonna be GG because he's gonna kill all the landmarks now on his own. Yeah, I don't think there's anything you can do as Hazza here. Like, those crossbows are just gonna get murdered here, like they get slaughtered by the knights, and you have no economy to work behind this, right? You have like a few villagers working here at this forgotten TC. Yeah, and Mitoe is just gonna go for like relics and stuff, but I don't think it matters. Like, this is GG, right? There's nothing that you can do if you fall so far behind the French or any other civ. To be honest, yeah, that's over. Like, just gives up, and Mitoe takes the game. It was very decisive from the start to the end as well, because he had so much control of those 3 or 4 knights and the chivalry tag that he really didn't need anything else, right? He just took that home. It's crazy how much he... Look at this, like, there was one fight, honestly, here. It really just was the end of it for Hazza, I guess, but knights are just really, really strong. I don't know, like, I think Mitoe just kind of had so much control from the start until the end that there was like nothing that Hazza could do. Like, he got strangled here, honestly, by his opponent. Like, the villager count was equal despite Hazza having way more economy in terms of like the TCs. He had like way more means of production. He was still equal with the French, which is ridiculous, to be honest. And the military count, like, he had a decent advantage here in terms of unit count, but I don't really think it mattered. It was mostly like archers who are useless against knights, and they just got murdered. So one rush, one push from Mitoe, and that was all she wrote. In terms of eco as well, look at this. Mitoe had so much more food. He had like 6k more food than his opponent, but 5k more food. And whoa, like 5,000 more gold as well. That's insanity, honestly, despite the fact that Hazza had a very good villager count. He was not able to capitalize on that in any way or form, right? Which is very, very unfortunate. So yeah, French seem to have complete and utter control here. Mitoe actually had 86 villager high, whereas Hazza, with his extreme number of TCs, just 72. And that's that. Like, that's basically how the game ends.